First of all, about your first film. Happy, nervous, what?
All emotions mixed. I'm nervous, very excited, happy, curious, everything.
Okay, you must have obviously seen the film. How do you think it has shaped up?
Well, when we were making this film, we had a really good feeling about it. Um, Starting with the story, when I heard it first, I was excited because I really liked it. Then, when we started work, uh, everybody was putting their full 100% best into it. So that felt great. So we felt that maybe we're on to something that will turn out to be nice. But we'll wait and see how it is. Then when it got made, of course, my family saw it, some of my friends saw it, and they were really excited about it. But I was still like, okay, I'm not going to take it for granted that it's good. I'll see, I'll wait. I didn't try to feed too much into my head that it's good. And now, these past few weeks, we've had the full film and the trials, and the response has been very positive. Um, if I would ask people, what did you think? I'd look very carefully, are they lying? Because most of the time they watch a trial, they say, yeah, very nice, बहुत अच्छी film hai. So I was looking very carefully to see whether they're being honest or not. And people honestly liked it. They've been very supportive and encouraging. So I think, and I enjoy the film also. I think we got what we sought out to do.
Now, in hindsight, do you think it is the ideal launchpad?
Yeah, I don't think I would have had any other launch pad than this.
Also, the fact that you're working with another newcomer, Aisha,
Hmm. Hmm.
and the director is also a first time. Did
Hmm.
it help or was it a problem?
Oh no, it helped completely because when you're a newcomer, you're raw. Um, you also, a lot of times when you get established, you have set ideas and there's a certain behavior that comes upon you and everything. We didn't have that. None of us did because all of us are first timers. So it was very important for us. It was like our first exam. So we really prepared for it. So it's been a very, very great experience.
How is it working with Aisha? We hear she's a pleasure.
Yeah, she's very good to work with. She's very talented, and I think she's perfectly cast for this role. And like I said, it was her first film, so so we all worked on it with the same energy. So our wavelengths matched, and she also put in as the same amount of energy that I did, that Imtiaz did. So it was a good experience working with her.
Would you have preferred it if this had been her debut film?
It would have been nice in the sense that because it was supposed to be that way, that it would have worked out. But I guess it got delayed, and you can't blame her for moving on and trying to get other work, but it would have been nice because she's done such a fabulous job in this film. I haven't seen her other films, so I can't compare it to that. But I can safely say that when you watch this film, she's so likable and adorable that if it had been her first film, it would have been such a great surprise for people that, wow, an actor is so good in her first film. It's hard to believe that it's her first film. So in that sense, it would have been nice even for her, not just for me or for the film, but even for her.
They said that the film was first going to be produced by an outside banner.
Hmm.
Do you think that would have been slightly different because you wouldn't then have had the pressure of being launched by your family and having to live up to expectations?
No, I don't think that would have been any different because even if somebody else had produced it, I would still, being a Deol, I would still have been compared. The pressures would have been the same. But I'm glad it worked out with the family production house simply because it's family. So with outsiders, there was still that bit of insecurity. Will this guy do it? Will he not? Am I putting the money into the right person? Am I not? With family, that was never the question. They were very sure of me. They had all hopes and expectations and dreams attached to me, and so it's much better working with Vijeta Films than anybody else because that comfort level is there, and that sense of family is strong.
Coming from the Deol family, you obviously had things to choose from. You chose a first-time director to, direct your first film.
Hmm.
There were no apprehensions when you first signed on the project.
No, because Imtiaz had written the script himself, and it's a very great story. So you could tell just by hearing the narrative that this guy has it in him to tell a story. So that was one thing. Second thing is, like I said earlier, being a first film of mine, we put in the same amount of energy. We put in like the energy that you would for your first exam, which you would probably not have got from an established director. So it's much better this way. It's much better that it was the first time. I never thought, even for a moment, that I should have worked with an established director. Obviously, I'm more comfortable with something that takes the story forward. I mean, the audience is not, they're not fools. They're going to be sitting and watching a movie, and they know that, okay, a song break has come. It's almost like a break now, a routine. So they'll go out for the toilet or buying this stuff, and they lose interest in a story. I lose interest in a story where the narrative comes to a stop and you get a song, because I don't care. I care for the story more than I care for the song. So I would always want it this way, that the songs are there because they help the film, they take the story forward. If the songs are there just as a relief, then there's no fun. You drop, the graph of the story drops immediately. So I wouldn't want to work like that.
High expectations coming from the Deol family.
Hmm. Um, yeah, a lot of my nervousness is to do with that, in the sense that, okay, I have such a great family, they have such a great background of their work, of their films, and I have to match a certain standard. I can't just enter unprepared. I have to enter prepared, and yeah, I really have put in lots of energy and effort into this film, into my work, into my role, and so yeah, the pressure is there more now than it was while making the film. While making the film, there was no pressure. I did not think about that, and neither did anybody from my house make me think about that. And now, when I face the audience, the people, the interviewers, that's when you feel it, when they ask this question. And so I just hope that I have prepared myself and that I will be liked.
Side of filmmaking, and then you said you want to become an actor.
Yeah.
Why that indecision? Suddenly, how did you decide that you wanted to become an actor?
I didn't study so much of the technical side of filmmaking, frankly. Um, I did the basics, like script writing, video filmmaking, and that kind of stuff. But I concentrated mainly on theater. So I was quite clear from the start that I would start my journey into films with acting. I know that one day would be nice if I get into directing, but acting was very clearly on my mind. Mm, yeah, and so yeah, I gave it my all when as far as theater goes. As far as the other technical aspects goes, I just knew that I should have an understanding of the craft of filmmaking, even as an actor, because that will only help. And if ever in the future I wanted to go from acting to directing or something like that, then this background would help. And I felt that once I get into acting, I can always learn the technical aspect as I'm making films. As long as I'm aware, I keep my eyes open. Um, I will learn other technical aspects as well as I go along with my acting. Yeah. Well, I can identify with the character in the sense that he's not larger than life. He's not a hero. So hence he's identifiable by me, and I think also by the audience, because as even me, I look at the audience also as myself when I put myself in their shoes, and I feel that when you watch a movie where the character is larger than life, where the character is a hero, you don't identify with that, because we are also heroes in our own way, not in the way that it's projected in a film, perhaps by their physiques or by the way they hit people and they get by their obstacles. We're heroes in the sense that we have our day to day living, we have our own problems, we have our own obstacles, and how do we surmount them? So that's why this character to me is identifiable, because he's an everyday person who faces obstacles, who has to surmount them and get on with his life. So he's identifiable by even me in that sense. Yeah.
Most day-to-day characters that we see are not larger than life, as you just yourself said.
Huh.
Do you think such a character is ideal for a launch?
Oh yeah, especially today. I not just today actually. I would be wrong in saying that. I think in any time period, even if this film was made 20 years ago, I think it would work. It's an extremely ideal launch, because I think it's a mistake to take a newcomer and try and bring out all his or her qualities in one film. Because if you've shown every aspect of this guy or this girl in their first film, then where do you go from there? How do you show anything new in the next film? And so, playing the average Joe in this film, the average guy, and not showing everything that he or she is capable of, you give that actor an opportunity to do that in another film. So, if in this film I've just sort of played the casual, I've just played the normal, you've gotten to know the actor as a real person, and that's always nicer. When I meet people for the first time, if they put on an act or an attitude or some pretension, they put me off. Um, if I already know, if I meet that person and they're not pretentious, they're real, I automatically, get more friendly. Then if later on they sort of show their attitude or their pretension, then I can, slap them on the face and like, what the hell are you doing, man? Like, chill, I know you. So it's nicer to grow into that with people. So even in a role, it works that way. So if I have to beat up 30 people tomorrow, I'd rather do that in a later script where it's convincingly done, and I'd prepare for that as well. But in this film, that was not required. If they put that in, it would look forced, just to show that yeah, the guy can do action. There's no point. Audience is smart. They're not gonna. They're gonna know. Okay, here we're just supposed to hero worship him now to see his muscles or to see his style of fighting. There's no need for that. It's better to just show that person as a real human being. Yeah.
The film has a very contemporary theme in the sense that the couple doesn't want to marry, doesn't want an arranged marriage basically.
Yeah.
How far do you think the rural audiences will identify with that, the interiors?
Sorry, the couple is contemporary. You're saying the film is contemporary.
The film is very contemporary, very urban, if I may say so.
See, it may be contemporary in the sense of in the way it's treated, but emotions are emotions. So even in a contemporary urban setting, emotions don't become urban. They don't become metropolitan. Emotions, sadness is sadness in a city, and it is in a town. Confusion is confusion in Delhi as it is much as it is in Jabalpur. you know so I don't think so. I think in fact if it reaches out towards rural areas, I think they love it because the film deals with people, with family, with love, with situations that people get into which they find hard to get out of. I think that the villager and the town person and the city person have found themselves in that situation. So no, I don't think it should not appeal to them. I think it should appeal to them. I think this film has chances of doing well in any part of the country.
Moving away from this particular film,
Yeah.
what kind of roles are you particularly looking at? What kind of work do you want to do?
Oh, I've just done a nice romantic, sweet film. I would like it if my next film is perhaps not that way. What I don't want to do is make the mistake of, if this film clicks, then I know a lot of people will approach me with the idea of making a romantic comedy with me because they felt that it's clicked. I would avoid that simply because if I end up doing a couple of films back to back like that, then I'll get slotted. So my effort will be to do films and roles that move away from the Socha Na Tha mold, just so that I don't get an image for myself. That is going to be my effort. Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Pleasure talking to you.
Thanks.